Hey friends, this is Waylon. I wanted to talk about writing not as just an art or a creative act, not as something that just writers do. Writing is something that all of us can do. Writing is something kind of like art that all of us can do. It doesn't matter if it's good, it really doesn't. And that's not some liberal kindergarten kind of notion. What matters is kind of like friendship, is it genuine? I want to talk about something super simple, which is writing your way to empathy, or writing your way to catharsis, or writing your way to a kind of joy, writing your way to a kind of path of peace or activism. So a lot of us think of writing as a creative act, and sure, maybe it is, but on some level, writing is the cheapest therapy you could ever engage in. So if you've ever been interested in maitri is also called metta sometimes, or loving kindness. It's basically just making friends with yourself. It's the notion that in Buddhism, but in many religious traditions, many philosophical traditions, many educational systems, there's this notion that you can write your way genuinely and enjoy this thing called catharsis. It's kind of like you're stressed out by something. Anyone stressed out by anything? So you're stressed out by something, then you write about it, or you tell a friend about it. But what we're talking about here is this sort of solitary act of writing about it. And suddenly two things happen. One, you're relieved of the stress. You're relieved of the sort of turmoil, the storyline going round and round and round your head, because you've been open about it. And number two, you've actually not only rediscovered joy or relief from that stress, but you've inspired someone else. So that's this magical thing we call empathy, right? It's the universe's most powerful transformative emotion, and we can write it. So this is not for writers. I'm a writer. A lot of us are writers. If you're a writer, you'll love this. But this is for all human beings. Anyone who's got a heart. Kind of reminds me of Wizard of Oz. So if you got a heart, you want to write your time, write your way along the path of maitri, to making friends with yourself. If you can go anywhere and everywhere in the world and you're always with your own best friend, someone who's honest, someone who's caring, someone who's funny and fun and curious, that's yourself. That's myself. We can make friends with ourselves, with our suffering, with our mistakes, with our shame, with our depression, with our guilt, with our joys, with our longings, with our wonderful qualities. We can make friends with our whole self. It's sort of like you're not just making friends with the parts of yourself you think are pretty. You're making friends with your wrinkles or your acne. You're making friends with your whole being. In Buddhism, they talk about the lotus flower coming out of the mud, the fertilizer of our neurosis. So there's no part of ourselves that we have to reject here. We have to actually be open and talk about it.